Okay, teammates, this is Miss Bryce here. I just wanted to talk through a few examples because I know some of us learn best through listening and some of us learn best by watching an example. So from that previous slide in your Nearpod, there is a picture of this anchor chart, and it tells us going from a decimal to a percent, you move the decimal point 2 places to the right. Okay, so you're going to move to the right, and then you are going to multiply by 100. So if I'm looking at the percent, this example here, that is, the decimal that is here, this is 25 hundredths, because remember, the spaces to the right of a decimal point are the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So this is 25 hundredths. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my decimal 2 places to the right. So now I have 25%. Where it says multiply by 100, this means you could also take the decimal 25 hundredths and multiply it by 100, and that still gives you 25%. Looking at this second example, if we are going from a percent to a fraction, you put the percent over 100 and drop the percent sign. Okay, so we're going to do this with 25%. So I'm going to take 25, I'm going to put it over 100, and I'm not going to include the percent sign. So now I have 25 over 100, and now I need to reduce or simplify. So I'm going to divide 25 by 25 and 100 by 25. Why am I dividing by 25? Because 25 is the greatest common factor of 25 and 100. So 25 divided by 25 is 1. 100 divided by 25 is 4. Another way to help us remember the rule with 25% and quarters is 25 out of 100 is equal to 1/4. Just like if you have 1 quarter, you have 25 cents. If I wanted 1 whole dollar, I would need 4 quarters to give me $1. So let's say that I had 3 quarters. 3 quarters is going to be 75 cents, or 75 over 100, and this is going to reduce down to 3/4. So 3 quarters is 75 cents, where 4 quarters is 1 whole dollar. This last example, we are going from a decimal to a fraction. So looking at my example of using 25 hundredths, we need to remember that to the right of a decimal point, we have tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. So the first step is use a place value of the decimal to write the denominator of the fraction. So I'm using this knowledge to figure out my denominator, so the bottom half of my fraction. So this is 25 hundredths, so that means my denominator is 100. And then the numbers to the right of the decimal are going to be my numerator. So I have 25 over 100. So just like our previous example, I know I can simplify. 25 divided by 25 is 1. 100 divided by 25 is 4. If we want to look at another example, there's one provided on this anchor chart. So if we have 6 hundredths, remember I am going to use my knowledge of place values to determine my denominator. So I see that I have 6 hundredths, so my denominator is 100. Then I'm going to write the number that is the numbers that are to the right of the decimal, and that is going to be my numerator. So my numerator is 6. So we always need to ask ourselves, is this in simplest form? I know that there is at least one factor that goes into both 6 and 100, and that is the factor of 2. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by that same factor, because remember, whatever you do to the top of the fraction, you have to do to the bottom of the fraction. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 100 divided by 2 is 50. So 6 hundredths as a fraction is 3 over 50.